Changes could be coming to the internet, and they will affect your browsing.
It is part of what's called net neutrality, and it could change how quickly you get information on the World Wide Web. News Channel 15's Randy Spieth joins us with more on how it could impact you.
You know, you may not think about it much, but in theory, all things are equal on the internet. You can go to site A just as quickly as site B and stream movies and music at the same rate, whether you use Hulu Plus or Netflix. But that could soon change and come with a price.
We're messing with rules that are really at the heart of what we have known as the internet and how we have known the internet works.
The Federal Communications Commission voted today to go forward with a proposal of new rules that could set new standards for internet providers.
The FCC is trying to tweak net neutrality because their argument is times have changed and we need to keep up with times.
If these new standards are passed, companies could pay extra to ensure their data downloads faster. Just like the other Randy Spieth here, smaller companies could do the same if they have the money. Otherwise, their data could be bogged down. If that happens, some worry the internet would become an unlevel playing field.
Because one service has made a deal with the internet service provider so they get priority for their traffic versus the other service that didn't pay up. So that's the thing that people are worried about, is are you going to create a situation where a new company has trouble getting in?
Some members of Congress are upset by the whole process, including Republican U.S. Senator Dan Coats, who said, quote, transparency is paramount in this process, and forcing through regulations in a non-transparent way does a disservice to consumers, businesses, and American taxpayers. Coates argues that a more rigorous economic analyst is needed for new internet regulations and wants the FCC to be updated on new rules.
I can see arguments on pretty much every side, but this is an issue that has a ton of those extra little unintended outcomes.
The FCC chairman hopes to have the final outcome decided by the end of the year. Next, net neutrality rules moves into a formal public comment period for the next 4 months. Randy Spieth, News Channel 15.
This whole issue can be a little confusing. So what does it really mean for you? Let's take a closer look. As Randy pointed out, right now everything on the internet is supposed to be treated equal. Under this new proposal, Netflix and other sites that use lots of bandwidth could be charged extra to ensure that their data loads properly. Most likely, Netflix would then pass this new cost on to consumers like you in the form of a price increase. The second thing that could happen is what's called prioritized content. If one streaming video company pays for fast lane service but not another, customers will likely gravitate to the one with the clearer picture that doesn't buffer as much. This will essentially divide the internet between the haves and the have-nots. For example, Comcast, which owns NBC Universal, introduced monthly data allotments for broadband customers a few years ago, but exempted its own streaming video content. That's a major disadvantage for competing services like YouTube. The final major issue has to deal with infrastructure. Right now, internet providers are having to continuously build new servers to deal with the increasing amount of bandwidth that's being used. If a so-called fast lane is created, lots of experts say internet providers would stop building new infrastructure. That's because if speeds slowed down, they would simply encourage companies to pay up and get into the fast lane.